me off the plane?
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Oh, Linda, hi, how are you?
The girls are annoyed.
We'll sort it out.
Get off!
Excuse me, have we been disruptive on this plane?
You are being now.
We're going down because our system line on I want to know. Excuse me, do not touch me.
That's assault, officer.
I'm alright, how are you?
Box of fluffies.
That's good. Yeah, I tried your mobile a bit earlier, but I thought, oh, I'll just try your landline, you might be around.
Oh, I'm always around.
Yeah, I'm at work at the moment, but that's okay. I was just really just wanted to ring up, well, firstly to say thank you.
Yeah, that's alright.
Thanks for bothering. As I said before, many people wouldn't.
I'm one of those annoying pricks that do.
Actually, so, you know, I'm not going to let this one go. Christina,
No, you shouldn't.
Pretty hot under the collar about this. It's just ridiculous, you know. I think you're in bloody North Korea or Syria or somewhere. But
Well, it just seemed completely vindictive. You guys, the first time you guys come to my attention, and believe me, if something popped up in public view, my camera would be out straight away. It's what I do.
Yeah.
You know, and the first time I noticed you guys even existing on the airplane was when there's cops walking up to you.
Yeah.
You know, there was no obstruction. I was at that airport from 20 to 7.
Yeah.
I was in the departure lounge for an hour and a half.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was completely. It was. We know why they did it. It was
Fabricated.
vindictive, and I've complained. Well, there's sort of two separate complaints going on. One
Sure.
is to Jetstar,
And one's to the cops.
and the other is to the police.
IPCA.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm just. I sort of contacted him and said, look, I'll be back after Christmas. Don't send me any more emails to work.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll let you know when I'm back. But I've read the report that he sent me through a report, which was because we asked for the incident report.
Sure.
And when I spoke to him a week after the event, there was no incident report, which I found a bit ridiculous and a bit suspicious actually. And I said to him, is that normal procedure? And he said, oh, well,
If he took your details, there should have been an incident report.
I would have expected a report.
Yeah, well, if he's got your details.
Appeared. Yeah, one miraculously appeared. And I mean, I'm glad it's there because it's just bullshit. You know, these guys have said that we were argumentative, we were basically obstructive, that we refused to get off the plane, which is absolute lies. We never refused to get off the plane at all. We were just asking.
You gave
why.
them a conditional acceptance. In other words, you were quite happy to do as they said, provided they could provide why you had to. It's that simple.
Right.
It's that fucking simple.
We're standing up, and then that guy said when I saw your video, I was really, really pleased because, you know, I mean, the whole thing was like a bit of a nightmare, and I was trying to go back and remember everything, and I'd completely forgotten that he'd said to me that he was going to drag me off the plane.
Yeah.
Drag me off the plane? Like I was a bloody sack of potatoes or something. I'd forgotten that he said that.
Yeah.
So I was pleased to have that on video. You know, I mean, you can see I'm not doing anything. I'm just standing there talking.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, I've got...
No shouting, arm waving, yelling.
Exactly. You asked the public opinion whether or not you'd been disruptive, and of course the idiots are going, yes, you are now. Well, you weren't causing the disruption. The police being on the airplane was causing the disruption. The captain lying about the delay is causing the disruption.
Well, we expect to be leaving shortly. We're just finishing up some of the last of the paperwork actually, and a little bit of our housekeeping.
Unfortunately, you guys were just the victim of some malicious little stewardess, by the sounds of it anyway.
Yeah, we were on the bus and Christina probably told you too that, you know, they just didn't like what we said, you know, so it was like a bit of a power thing. Okay,
sure,
we'll show you what we can do, you know. And the thing, I think the scary thing is
that they could get away with it.
But, you know, there's no, like my word and Christina's word meant absolutely nothing.
No.
They said...
guilty until proven innocent in this, unfortunately.
That letter from Nathan, the Jetstar customer care person or something, he'd said in there that the staff, his staff, meaning the two stewardesses, formed the opinion that I don't think you sent me a copy of the one he sent to you, but he sent me virtually an identical email.
Yeah, it's like they just change a few facts, and it's a generic thing they send.
That the staff had formed the opinion that Christina and I were, I can't remember the words, like trouble. And I went back to him and I said, well, I don't accept that, and I'm not interested in the opinion that your staff may have formed. I'm interested in the facts of
it's the reasonable grounds. It's good. Reasonable grounds. Yeah, exactly. And there were no reasonable grounds. I mean, the policeman breached New Zealand Bill of Rights Act 1990, Section 21 through to 24.
Well, that guy, I mean, once we got off that plane, those guys were absolutely obnoxious. We got off...
Oh, they would have been.
We got off the and we were just standing, you know, when you get out of the plane, we were kind of standing in that sort of little lobby area.
Wondering what the hell, no doubt.
Yeah, exactly. And I said to the guy, look, we haven't done anything, you know, what on earth? And he just said to me, will you be quiet? You know, it was like this bloody...
A parent telling a child off. That's the attitude.
Down to me, like I was a naughty little 10-year-old schoolgirl.
He forgets he's forgotten his place as to who's the public and who's the servant.
And then he said to his mate, he said, and I have told the I don't know what he is, a sergeant or something.
Senior sergeant, probably.
Yeah, I told him exactly what this guy had said, and then he said to at the very end. We were ready to go. I mean, by then it was like half an hour of just bullshit, and then by then Christina and I, we thought, well, God, we've got to get down to Wellington. We had to ring family. I mean, Mum's 88, she's waiting for us to arrive.
Sure, exactly.
So we all the flights had finished. We couldn't get any more flights that night.
Same with me. I couldn't get on the train because the train station had closed at 11, and I didn't get there until 10 past. So I was screwed. Yeah. I mean, it stuffed everybody up.
Yeah, but when we were about to, we thought, this is just ridiculous, let's just go, you know, we'll pursue it later. It's not the time and the place. These guys are ignorant, bloody, misogynistic cretins. Anyway, they said, that's right, we were about to go, and he said, oh, just a minute, we need more information. Need to know your address and your occupation or something.
Sure.
And I said to him, well, you've got all that information. Jetstar have got all that information. It's all there on the system. I said, why do you need to know?
Because they can't get it from Jetstar, and if you place that you're an occupation, then you have residence as a citizen in New Zealand, and it's all a matter of gaining jurisdiction over a person. That's how it is. That's just
what it is. Well, I just asked what I thought was a reasonable question, like, in other words, what the hell has my job got to do with it? What do you care whether I'm a waitress or a frickin' brain surgeon? I said to him, you know, why do you need to know where we work, you know? And he looked across me.
I just say, I'm a man. Mate. What's your occupation? I'm a man. Yeah. That's it. None of your business.
He said, shall I tell her about the $10,000 fine and a night in jail for refusing to give information?
Yeah. Threats and intimidation.
Really? I said, right, really? I mean, is that the best you can do? I didn't say that to him, but I just said, it was just pathetic. I couldn't believe it. I was really angry, but I was shaking because I was I feel like I'm in a, you know,
feel like you're getting told off in a third world country
state or something, which is probably what it is.
Well, it is.
It is horrible, nasty, dominating attitude about the whole thing, and you know, the whole time we didn't do anything, you know. And he said he placed his hand on my shoulder in the plane.
He gave you a shove, clearly 3 times on video. He shoved you 3 times.
Well, what I've asked, the guy, the surgeon at the airport has asked for a copy of the video, and I said to him, well, I've actually seen it. I said, but I'm not prepared to show you a copy of that video until I have a sworn statement.
You want a signed sworn affidavit from the stewardess?
Yeah.
Someone to hold reversely liable for your stuffing around.
And on behalf of all of your crew, Donald, Rebecca and Olivia, it's my pleasure to welcome you all. Your captain today is Andrew Siddell, joining him First Officer Jason Franklin. Finally, on behalf of Captain Andrew Siddell, your First Officer Jason Franklin, and your Auckland-based in-flight team, Donald, Rebecca, Olivia and myself, I'd like to thank you again for choosing to fly Jetstar. It certainly has been a pleasure having you on board with us this evening, and I'd like to apologise for the late arrival of this service. I do thank you very much for your patience and understanding, and hope it hasn't caused too much inconvenience to your evening. Thank you and very good evening.
Yes, because because I want the police to say that this is what happened, and I want them to make it a legal document, not just an incident report. And once they've done that, then I'm going to go, okay, well, they're lying because here's the video.
What tends to do though is they'll make a statement of facts or statement of events in the police report, but they won't sign it and it won't be witnessed. That's what happened with me when I requested a signed sworn statement in regards to one matter. And that's all they do. They just sign you a bit of paper. It's because as far as prosecution with the police are concerned, they don't have to supply you that, because all of the evidence happens and the court case happens once you're in the courtroom. What's all done beforehand makes absolutely no stuff all difference. It's once those doors in the courtroom close on the hearing date, that's when all the evidence is put on the stand. When you attest, when you verbally speak on the stand, that's when you're entering evidence. But anyway.
I'm going to make a formal complaint. The
do that.
at the airport said, he would like to, he asked me to explain everything that happened, and I did. And he said, well, what's the outcome that you'd like? I'd like to, get this sorted. You're welcome, of course, to make a formal complaint to the police authorities if you wish, but, it'd be good if we could sort of settle this. And I said, well, first of all, I want your guys to apologise. Secondly, I want them to have some training in how to deal with people correctly under the circumstances. Their behaviour was extraordinarily out of proportion to the incident that they were dealing with.
Absolutely.
We tried to say, they've just been called to come on the plane, and
but they're there to keep the peace. They're not there to enforce Jetstar policy.
Exactly.
And that's what they were doing. They were being
on the plane. They looked down the plane. They could see where we were. I mean, they might have.
They had to.
The plane thinking they're dealing with 2 bloody 17-stone
Right.
bikers or something.
Right.
But, my sister and I were just sitting there doing.
Yeah. They had to ask.
Have to be so dominating and bullying.
Well, here's the point. I mean, they if you guys were so disruptive, they shouldn't have had to ask where you were, should they? Yeah, I mean, you should have been standing out like a sore thumb if that was the case, but they had to get pointed to what seat and who you were. It's like, it's lucky dip. But yeah, like I say, the whole thing just disgusted me. You're a paying customer, you're paying for a service, and irrespective of the stewardess's opinion, because that's all it is, absent of fact, which you can rebut. So any signed sworn affidavit that they produce, you can easily produce I'm happy to make a signed sworn affidavit and verify on court if need be that they are full of shit. I was the second man on the plane. I recorded the empty plane, peaceful and silently. I did more than just what's on.
Did you really?
Yeah, I mean, I've got recordings of. That's just an edited version.
We were boarding in the departure lounge. So
sure.
We didn't even get on together. I mean, I got on by myself and came and sat down, and there was a lady, the lady in the. So she was already sitting there, and then Christina was one of the last people to come on the plane. So we weren't even together during the whole boarding procedure. And
like I said, I didn't even notice you, and I was in that departure land for an hour and a half. All the school kids and the group of school kids are all there being rowdy as hell. But I didn't notice any of you. There was no disruption whatsoever. It was just purely vindictive. So.
Yeah, so what's the next step? I think I'm going to contact the sergeant at the airport and say that I will be laying a formal complaint.
No point even telling him. There's no point even telling. Just file it. Just go online to IPCA complaint. You can do online straight away. It's easy enough to do, and file it. And that way, it's made. The complaint's there. Then they have to act upon it. And then you'll get a letter acknowledging that you've made the complaint, and then they've got a certain length of time to investigate and keep you informed.
Okay.
But telling them what you're going to do is just like, I'm going to tell mum and dad on you. I mean, it makes no difference to them. They don't care. They don't.
They sort of asked me, look, what do you want? Get back to me, and of course, you have the right to make a formal complaint if you want to. Yeah.
You end up with a conclusion letter at the end of the IPCA saying, that there's that they find that the constable or senior sergeant acted in accordance with whatever, blah blah blah, and that everything was fine and reasonable. They had used reasonable force and all the rest of it. But the point is to make the complaint, then it's on record. So when it happens again, you've got something further to back up.
Yeah.
You know, that's I've got 3 complaints against IPCA. One was upheld. The other one, I had a cop run over my foot because he didn't want to answer my questions. He drove off and ran over me. It was completely ignored. It was given to his sergeant to investigate. You know, his the man who's responsible for his actions. It was given to him to. They're all ex cops.
Yeah.
You know, but at least it's on paper, because if it's on paper, then you can hold them liable. And that's what they don't want to do. They don't want to admit liability. They don't want to say what we did was wrong. All they'll say is that we've investigated it. But yeah, by all means, I'd take them to the bloody cleaners. I reckon that you should get a letter of apology. You should at least get recompensated for the loss of all the extra hassles that you've done. You know, that's the...
Well, you know, we lost it yesterday. We had to go and rebook on Air New Zealand and
I'm sure.
home and
the costs involved there, I mean...
Because I live in Pukekohe and...
Jeez.
We got back to my place about bloody 11:30 and had to go online and book again, and we got about 4 hours sleep. Then we had to head off to the airport again to be there by about 6:30 flight in the morning to go down the next day.
Crikey, I was worried about you guys actually even being allowed on another airplane, because they might put you on a no-fly list or something.
Yeah, well, it's funny you should say that. I went to see my son and daughter-in-law and my grandson in Adelaide over Christmas, you see, so
Sure.
Aaron booked my flights for me.
Yep.
And I, at the time, they were done time ago, so he just said, oh, Mum, I'll just get whatever the cheapest flights are. And I said, yeah, that's fine, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So one of them was a Jetstar. And I thought, ooh, this
Don't
is
do it.
interesting. Nobody looked at me
Good.
in a strange way or anything like that.
Yeah, oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Because you never know, a little bit of power that they have, they will use it to muck with you in every way possible.
I'm just disgusted with the whole thing, actually.
The strong arming of the police, in my opinion, was unnecessary. He didn't need to shove you or push you. All they needed to do was talk calmly and explain the situation.
Or threaten, drag me off the plane.
If you look up on legislation.gov.nz, you'll find the Crimes Act 1961. You look up it's all about the definition of intimidation and assault and everything, so you can say that those officers breached these sections of these acts, because when you start talking their own language back to them, they start taking notice. You know what I mean?
Legislation.gov.nz.
Yeah, just go there. All of the legislation's online, so it's just a matter of knowing where and in which act. And there's like 3,000 legislative rules of society in New Zealand to follow, but I'm slowly working through them.
God. I mean, see, someone like someone other than me, say, might just go, oh, what the hell, you know?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
My brother will fly Jetstar again. I mean, with
Sure.
the whole family missed my auntie's funeral down in Lower Hutt last year because Jetstar just cancelled the flight, you know. So Gary's just, no, that's it, I'm not freaking flying Jetstar ever again, and he won't. And people like that just give up. Even my boss was telling me, you know, the story when he took his son down for inauguration at his university, and the whole, you know, the session was, the ceremony was booked at sort of 10:30, so they booked a flight down to Wellington at 7 in the morning, and it was just cancelled, just randomly cancelled for no reason. They missed the whole thing, and like there's no apology or no effort made to sort of get you down there on another flight or anything like that.
You won't get any sort of emotional response from a corporation, because corporations don't have emotions. It's really that simple.
All we were saying was, well, but what have we done?
Nothing.
What reason? And oh no, we can't. We won't tell you. We'll tell you when you get off the plane. And it's like, well, no, I'm not getting off the plane. I have the right to know why. But they're like, no, you don't have any rights. You don't have the right to know anything.
No.
Shut up and do as you're told and sit in the corner and quiet and you know, don't question anything we say. Otherwise, we'll threaten you with a night in jail and a $10,000 fine. Whoop-de-doo. I was just disgusted, you know, with their whole attitude. And that's what I was basically saying to the sergeant, is that when he's been training, They need some training. They're supposed to be there to work for the people.
Yeah.
I wasn't the enemy. I wasn't the enemy, you know. If I'd been running around with a bloody sword and threatening to blow the fucking plane up or something, I could understand them maybe wanting to use a bit of something on me. But you know, it's like
that's how they work. That's how they work.
Coming from?
Yeah, they're not on the same planet, it would appear sometimes, but that's just how they are. You know, I'm of the opinion of if they want to try and force something upon me, I'll ask them what rule.
He was basically the sergeant basically said, well, they just have to. They're told by Jetstar that we evicted from the flight, and that's their job is to come in and get us off the flight.
Yeah, my question would have been, so you work for Jetstar then?
Yeah, exactly. And the captain refused to fly the plane with you. That's what they said to us, and we got off and we went, what?
Bullshit. He said housework to us.
A very warm welcome aboard. I do apologise for the delay. The situation started off this morning with 2 aircraft grounded due to mechanical issues. Once they were cleared to line, everything was backed up, and over the course of the day we just haven't managed to make up much of that time at all. I sincerely apologise if it's impacted your evening. I don't doubt that it has. We expect to be leaving shortly. We're just finishing up some of the last of the paperwork actually, and a little bit of our housekeeping. Expect to be on our way inside 10 minutes. Once we do leave, taking off to the east right hand turn, tracking pretty well down over Hawera to Wellington, leaning towards the north there where the weather's pretty enthusiastic. Strong winds gusting up to about 70-80 k's. Low cloud and showers and rain. I'm flying us down, so I'll get back to you once we get done with an update on the arrival time and the weather. Once we do push back, cabin crew will be giving you a safety briefing. Please to give it your full attention. It's very important to us that we know that you know what to expect should any situation arise. We should only be another 5 minutes or so. Thanks very much for your patience. I do apologise for the enormous inconvenience this no doubt has caused you, and we can assure you we'll be going just as quickly as we can once we do get going. Welcome aboard, folks.
Never even met the captain in my life. What the
Andrew.
hell, you know? He's just going by, and they said, oh, well, you know, it's a Jetstar staff have told him something, then it's his decision if he wants you off the plane or not. But, you know, I've read up a few things on the internet about other incidents that occurred on Jetstar flights. And one guy urinated over all the passengers. They didn't even call the police. And I read this Jetstar, she was the spokesperson for Jetstar or something, and she said their policy is that you will get a warning, and you know, and if you don't heed the warning, they may call the airport police. We didn't get a warning. We didn't get anything at all. No. I mean, and this guy didn't even get kicked off the plane, let alone have the police call for urinating over all the passengers.
That's crazy, isn't it?
There's one rule for one and one rule for someone else because the hostesses didn't like my sister and I on the fucking bus.
Yeah.
That's basically what it boils down to.
Yeah, I mean, to me and to apparently to many of the other viewers of the video online, I mean, it's clearly that they were just being vindictive. And cops have no clue. Cops think they're a constable upholding, you know, the peace, oath to the Queen type stuff. Well, that's common law. That's law of the land. And then they're being a policy enforcement officer, enforcing statutes and legislation of the Crown to make money. Hence your speeding tickets, and everything has a monetary value. Crazy shit, mate. It's really crazy.
It is actually.
I mean, I could bore you for hours on this one, but I won't.
Look, my youngest son he's always talking about things like this to me, you know, not anti-establishment, but just, you know, he challenges everything. And
yeah, well, questioning authority, you know, at the end of the day, we each have our own authority. And we seem to think that that we're actually self-governing individuals, you know. We shouldn't leave it to the state to tell us what to do, because then we end up like we are now, you know, getting told like kids to sit down, shut up, and do as you're told.
Yeah, even if you haven't done anything wrong.
Exactly right.
If I had got on the plane and I was effing and blinding and being abusive, yeah, look, that's probably...
I would have had it on film.
I would have experienced warning and told to sit down and be quiet on the plane, or else, you know...
And I would have it on film.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the important bit. If you were kicking off, I would have caught it. I had 3 cameras on my person to do it. You know.
Oh God, I'm very pleased you were on my side, mate.
Well, I'm just on the side of right. You know, you did nothing wrong, and therefore you should be defended for that. You know.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do then is I'll go online and have a look, and I'll look at lodging a formal complaint.
Yep.
I'm going to chase up Jetstar and see what their response is to my long email. It was Christina and I wrote it, but basically explaining the whole thing.
Sure.
Emmy, the lady who was sitting in the aisle seat, she's very happy to write a statement. She's in Samoa at the moment, but she's very happy to write a statement saying from the time we got on the plane to the time we sat down next to her, and the whole time we were just sitting talking, you know, until all of a sudden 3 cops arrived, you know. And she contacted us and said, look, you know, this has not sat easy with me, and I just want you to know that, you know, I wasn't happy about what happened. I didn't think it was fair or right, and I'm happy to make a statement. So it's going to take a while, I know, but there's no rush.
That was the whole point to me, was that, I mean, I think it was not the first, but the second time he gave you a shove, it was a decent one, and I sort of like, well, that's when I yelled out, hey mate, that's assault, officer, because it clearly was. If you had shoved him that way,
I turned around and said, hey, please don't,
don't touch me again.
Push me.
Yeah.
Just so he did it again.
Yeah, that was, well, that's assault. If you'd done that to him, you'd be locked up for it.
Yes.
So if we're all equal before the law.
Laid a hand on my shoulder because I was being argumentative and obstreperous and whatever.
They say that you're being obstructive and argumentative. You know that the word argue means to clarify. Okay, why wouldn't you want to argue something? We're told all our lives not to argue, but it's the best thing to do.
Yes.
Yeah, look at it. I've actually looked up the etymology of every word that I use, so I've got too much free time on my hand.